guys, how's it going? Welcome to Passive Passion Online Income. In today's video, I'm actually going to be talking to you about the case for shipping containers as an inflation hedge. It's going to be an interesting topic, so do stay with me till the end of the video because I'm going to be sharing lots of interesting golden nuggets, okay, which is going to be very fascinating, and more importantly, it's going to be very informative, and it's also going to help you to make an informed decision if ever you want to get into this industry. All right, so I'm going to be with you right after this short little intro. So, welcome back. Now, what if I was to tell you that the biggest threat to your wealth is not a market crash, but silent inflation? Think about it. 10 years ago, groceries were cheaper, fuel was cheaper, housing was cheaper, transportation was cheaper, and everyday living costs were dramatically lower. Yet, many people keep their financial decisions and their future dependent on systems that may not always protect their purchasing power effectively during inflationary periods. Now, here's the interesting part. While average people panic during inflation, many experienced investors begin searching for hard assets, operational industries, cash flow ecosystems, and sectors tied directly to global economic movement. And one of the sectors quietly sitting behind international trade is shipping containers. Today, we're going to discuss why inflation changes investor behavior, why some people move toward real-world assets, how logistics became one of the most important industries globally, and the case for shipping containers as an inflation hedge. A disclaimer, this video is strictly for educational and informational purposes only and should not be considered financial advice. All investments carry a risk, and viewers should always conduct their own due diligence and consult qualified professionals before making financial decisions. Now, let's begin. Why is it that inflation destroys complacency? One thing inflation does very effectively is that it exposes weakness, because inflation slowly attacks purchasing power, savings, retirement planning, and long-term financial stability. And most people don't notice it immediately. It happens gradually. A little increase here, a little increase there. Then suddenly, monthly expenses double, retirement projections change, and many people begin realizing that preserving wealth is not as simple as just saving money. That is why many experienced investors eventually begin asking different questions. What's trending? But what industries remain operational regardless of economic cycles? Now that is a completely different level of thinking, because sophisticated investors often focus on systems, infrastructure, logistics, energy, transportation, and operational cash flow. Industries connected to real-world economic activity. Why is it that real-world assets attract attention during inflation? Now let's think logically. During inflationary environments, goods still need transportation, supply chains still operate, products still move internationally, and businesses still depend on logistics. This is why many investors become increasingly interested in sectors connected to movement, infrastructure, and operational necessity. And shipping containers sits at the center of global trade. Most people never think about containers, but almost every product around us has likely spent time inside one at some point. And I'm going to give you some examples. Electronics, retail products, machinery, construction materials, medical supplies, industrial goods, furniture, food products. Containers are not glamorous, but they are functional. Functional industries often become extremely important during uncertain economic periods. Now, let's talk about the difference between speculation and operational assets. Now, this is where many people misunderstand the concept or process of investing. There's a difference between speculation and operational asset ecosystem. Speculation is often driven by hype, emotions, momentum, and short-term excitement. Operational industries are different. Operational industries are tied to business activity, real-world usage, supply chains, transportation, and economic movement. Now again, no investment is risk-free. Every industry has cycles, challenges, and uncertainties. But many sophisticated investors appreciate understanding how operational sectors function because they are connected to actual commercial activity. And logistics is one of the most important operational industries in the world. Without logistics, economies slow down, international trade suffers, and businesses struggle to function efficiently. Now let me talk about the fact why is it that shipping containers have become a global business. Now let's talk specifically about shipping containers. Many people assume containers are simply steel boxes sitting at ports, but globally, containers function as business assets with leasing ecosystems. Containers are deployed, leased, utilized, repositioned, and circulated across international trade networks. And since global trade never truly stops, container demand continues existing across many regions and industries. Now, naturally, markets fluctuate, leasing activity varies, and operational performance depends on many factors. But the reason many people interested in container-related sectors is because they see utility, movement, and recurring operational demand. That's important psychologically because during inflationary periods, more investors become interested in assets connected to economic necessity rather than pure speculation. Let's talk about the investor psychology during economic uncertainty. One thing I've noticed over years is this. During uncertain economic periods, investors begin behaving differently. They become more cautious, more analytical, more defensive, and more diversification focused. And wealthy individuals especially begin asking, how exposed am I to one single system? This question changes everything because true diversification is not all about owning different stocks. Sophisticated diversification often involves exposure to different industries, different asset categories, and different economic ecosystems. That's why conversations around logistic infrastructure, transportation, and leasing have become larger globally. Not because people are chasing hype, but because they are studying resilience. Now I'm going to be talking about the strategy, how some investors approach the concept of model of shipping containers. So at KM Trading Shipping and Logistics LLC, we operate within the realms of logistics and container leasing. Now, naturally, every business structure depends on operations, deployment, market conditions, and business performance. Many individuals exploring logistics-related opportunities are interested in how container deployment and leasing ecosystems function operationally. Some investors prioritize recurring cash flow potential, real-world utility, and long-term scaling strategies. Others are simply interested in learning more about how international logistics business operates. And what I personally appreciate about sophisticated investors is this. They usually do not rush emotionally. They ask questions, they evaluate systems, study operations, and conduct proper due diligence carefully. That is how mature investing should work. Why is it that education matters more than hype? One of the biggest problems today is that most of the people are exposed to hype-based financial conversations. Everything becomes fast money, instant success, emotional speculation, and unrealistic expectations. But real business ecosystems are different. Real industries require operations, relationships, logistics, management, and consistency. And one reason I created this channel is because I believe people should understand how real-world industries actually function behind the scenes. Because when you begin understanding logistics, transportation, operational systems, and global trade, you begin looking at the economy very differently. Now, if you're someone who is genuinely interested in learning more about shipping container ecosystems, understanding logistics-related opportunities, or exploring alternative asset conversations, you may visit our website and submit an inquiry form. From there, one of our managers may contact you to better understand your goals, your background, and whether our programs are suitable for your situation. Because professionalism, structure, and proper evaluation are extremely important to us. And for serious and qualified individuals, there may also be opportunities for additional due diligence discussions where appropriate. At the end of the day, inflation changes the way how people think. It forces people to ask how wealth is protected, how purchasing power is maintained, and how real-world industries continue functioning regardless of economic headlines. And that is why many experienced investors continue studying operational sectors connected to infrastructure, logistics, transportation, and global trade. Not because they are chasing hype, but because they understand the importance of diversification, resilience, and economic utility. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you found value in this discussion, subscribe to the channel, like the video, share it with someone who will benefit from this information, and stay tuned for more educational content on logistics, shipping containers, publishing business, and alternative assets. Till then, you guys take care. I'll see you in the next one. God bless. Cheers.